What's an unwritten rule in your household that would seem bizarre to outsiders? Before we start with the first story, please hit subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay updated with us. Story 1. The loud noise and I'm okay rules. If you know you're going to make a loud noise, say dropping a heavy bag down the stairs, you had to yell loud noise to warn everyone that the noise was coming, and planned if you made a loud noise unplanned, you had to yell, I'm okay, so no one came running or did come running, you were not okay. Side note, this rule was created when Grandpa dropped a toilet on his finger. Story 2. This was a rule in a kitchen I worked at. Lots of pans get thrown on the floor, hot pans, so you would have to announce it. Otherwise, management thinks you just spilled something and their blood pressure rises. Loud noise and saying behind are ingrained in me. Also, purposefully setting aside sharp knives for washing and making sure the dishwasher sees and acknowledges them. I expected it when I washed dishes and when I cooked. Story 3. If someone is voluntarily doing a chore, no one shall tell them how to do it differently unless damage is going to be incurred. If unsolicited advice is given without the intent to actively roll up sleeves and help, the task then belongs to the giver of the unsolicited advice. If more people tried to adopt even a fraction of this mindset, then so many households would be so much happier. Yes, weaponized incompetence is a thing and messed up when people do it, but many times it's just priorities and preferences are different. My spouse folds the towels differently than I do. In our case, it doesn't impact anything, so why would I get on their case about something so benign and add stress for no reason? Story 4. My husband and I have a large mug that says, as I suspected, I was right all along. When one of us has an I told you so moment, the other says, you get the mug tonight. We love the laughs we have when one of us turns the corner with that big ass mug looking smug, while the other has a regular pity mug, haha. My wife and I have a validation kiss if we're having a disagreement about something, and one of the people realizes they're wrong. You immediately have to sigh, grab the other person's cheeks, close your eyes, and then give the other person a deep validation kiss. We also have red light kisses where we kiss each other, sometimes a peck, sometimes more, at every red light, to remind ourselves that no matter how we're feeling, we love each other. Our daughters 6, 4, and 2 love it. Story 5. When you're sitting down and you've misplaced something small, phone, remote control, etc., you must get up and check under your butt before asking anyone else if they've seen the thing. There were many times when I was younger, I would ask my mother where something of mine is and that she would have no reasonable way of knowing where said thing was, so she'd sarcastically answer, up my ass. So now whenever she says she's lost something, I ask if she's checked her ass. The best part is 80% of the time she is in fact sitting on it. Story 6. The dinner table dumb joke of the day rule. When I was a child, my father would tell a dumb joke at dinner every night. It was probably one of my best memories from an otherwise plain vanilla WASP suburbs childhood. I did the same with my kids. Then when the internet was becoming more of a popular resource, I tasked each of my kids to take turns bringing a really dumb joke. It truly made dinner fun because jokes are like potato chips, you can't have just one. And dumb jokes are frequently very funny in their own unique way. Now, many decades later, these jokes have become a highlight of family gatherings as my adult children recall their favorites from the past 35 years. They too do it with their kids. They also still text me stupid jokes when they find them. It keeps them in touch in a nice way. Goofy, but it really worked well in a huge way for us. Story 7. Principle of bus pants. If your clothes, pants, or top have touched something from the outside world, may it be seats of public transportation, seats of a restaurant, waiting rooms, whatever, you are not allowed to wear them at home. You must change to your couch pants, that is homeware, to be allowed to sit on the couch. Of course, this only applies to household members, so guests are excluded by this rule. And take your shoes off before entering our home, LOL. This applies to everyone. Absolutely no exceptions. Growing up, we didn't care about public spaces much, but heaven help you if you wore your horse pants to sit on the dining room chairs or the couch. We had to put down newspaper on the dining room chairs and sit with our backs against the seat of HTE couch versus on the couch seat itself if we were called in from the horses. Story 8. Either my wife or I can do any chore when noticed. We thank each other for routine chores as we appreciate each other. The fact my husband and I do this drives some of my family members insane. One of my aunts said, "Why should he thank you for something you're supposed to do as a wife?" I told her we are both working full-time. Neither of us is a stay-at-home spouse. So when we use our limited free time to clean and do chores, we thank each other. We are building a life together, and no matter the task, big or small, it deserves to be recognized. I swear it matters. I do the dishes and get a thank you hug and kiss from my husband. Makes me feel good. He mows the lawn because he knows I hate yard work. I give him a back rub and thank him. Little acts of love matter. Story 9. The house must be aired out every day, even in the dead of winter. My mom would always ask us to open our bedroom windows during the day. We'd then close them in the evening to heat the house if it was cold. But during the day, windows open, and often the ranch slider in the lounge as well. I still do it now when I live in my own little place. My kitchen and bathroom windows are always partially open, even overnight, and my bedroom ones get open during the day and closed at night so I can run the heat pump. Story 10. If an item in the kitchen has not been opened, you may not open that item. Only the person who purchases the milk, Oreos, pasta, cheese, and C may open the item. So ingrained to us as adults, I am immediately alarmed seeing someone open things they did not purchase. And born out of years of my folks carefully crafting grocery lists and planning meals only to find the chips for nachos night have long since gone stale, the cream for potato soup is gone. And our lasagna will be mozzarella less courtesy of the No Mercy children's snacks. Edit to add, once an item has been opened, it is now deemed to have served its purpose and is fair game to all. Story 11. So growing up, there were the better seats in the living room, and if you had one and got up, someone would likely grab it. So my siblings and I used to do this thing where we would say, X save, and even draw out the imaginary X on the seat. But one day, my brother pretended he had a fake eraser and erased the fake X, and took the comfy seat. So now we say, X save, no erase. Until this day, it's just a very natural thing to do, say, when we are together. It is also passed on to the youngest generation. But oddly, we only do it at my mom's house, and we have longtime friends who even do it when they come over. I know it is funny, especially to outsiders, but it seems just so natural to all of us now that we hardly even notice we do it. Here we are, well into adulthood. And on holidays, we are watching like hawks to see if someone gets up and forgets to say it. Which rarely happens, and there are plenty of seats. At this point, it's more of a game. Story 12. This is probably gonna come off weirder than it is, but as a father of a teen daughter, 16, who just recently became sexually active, the rule is that if you're going to have sex in the house, do it when I'm home. Don't announce it, but put the do not disturb sign on your door, one we stole from a hotel. I won't interrupt, I won't bother you. Etc. The reasoning for this rule is that she told me about her first time a year ago, where she didn't really want to have sex, but because she was out with the guy with no way home, she felt trapped and obligated. I acknowledge that she is a teenager and that teens have sex. I was a teen parent, didn't want to know. But I'd rather it happen where she feels safe and she knows that if she says no, I will back her up. We also have code words for communicating things like, I want to send him home, but I don't want to. I'll kick the boy out using some lame believable excuse. I don't feel safe. No real explanation needed here. I don't want to. Go to this social event with my friends, but I don't want to come off as antisocial. I'll make up an excuse for why she can't go. Let her friends be mad at me. Story 13. Kids do all chores. Parents cook. It's how I was raised, and it's how I raised my kids. I'm divorced and the kids are grown, so I don't have my live-in help anymore. Other people seem to think this is weird, but since I was raised this way, it's totally normal to me. Plus, it's not like vacuuming the living room and emptying dishwashers is slave labor or anything. I'll live with myself. I think the weird part is kids do all the chores. Like, absolutely children should be taught the realities of maintaining a home and be expected to pitch in. But I think expecting kids to do all the chore whilst the parent's only task is cooking is a bit weird. Would be interesting to see whether it's as strict a rule as you suggest, or more just that the children are expected to contribute and do all chores, but that the parents would also contribute to chores too more generally. For example, I was raised in a household where every single Saturday morning we would all, as a family, clean the house from top to bottom. I was also expected to clean up after myself, to not make a mess, and to leave things as I found them. Like you, it's totally normal to me, and I think it's at least part of why I am a clean, tidy person, but also why I am efficient, effective at doing things. For example, I tidy as I go. so there's rarely any cleaning up to be done for me. Whereas my wife leaves all the cleaning for later, making it feel, to me at least, a bigger chore. Story 14. The thank you rule and the permission rule. I grew up with these rules and took them into every relationship I've had, long or short. If someone does something outside their normal scope or they do something for you specifically, you say, "Thank you for that. Thank you for the help," or "Thank you for the tea," if they made you a cup of tea, for instance. Every single time. That person might do 3 extra things that day, and when someone notices, there is always a thank you said. They might do the same extra thing for you for 20 days in a row. You still say thank you every time. This includes if they took something extra into consideration for you. For instance, the person who was cooking that night noticed one of us had a tummy ache during the day, so they made dinner with a lot less cheese than normal. Or someone had a long day and forgot to hang the bath mat after a shower. Another person would do it for them rather than pester for having forgotten. Eventually, the first person realizes what they've forgotten and offers the thank you. Everything little or big was given acknowledgement and appreciation. The permission rule was that you always ask permission if it came to another person's things or body. Without fail, every time. From borrowing a pen to saying that there is a leaf in someone's hair and is it okay if I get it? This rule applied not just to us kids but my parents too. Once the kids got to a certain point, usually about the age when they were able to say things like, "No, I can do it myself," then the permission rule kicked in, and mom and dad had to ask if they wanted help getting dressed or things like that. Then the child had the choice to allow the help or decide to try for themselves. The exception to these rules were urgency or emergency situations, but even then, often the person doing the looking after would talk through what actions were being taken. "I know, your finger hurts because you squashed it in the door. We're going to put this towel on it and we're going into the doctor's. Let's go." In the car we go. I've gotten some funny looks from partners over the years, because it's automatic for me to ask permission to touch them for a lot of things, or they're just unsure how to react to my always acknowledging and thanking when they do things or take something into consideration for me. But I think overall, it was an incredibly valuable rule to grow up with. Story 15. At birthday parties, we always let our kids open their gifts as the guests arrived. This allowed each gift to be personally received and an individual thank you. It also allowed for fun new games and toys to be enjoyed right away, with the gift givers present so they could share in the excitement. Conversely, it avoided that big hoarding pile, causing undue jealousy. It also avoided any awkward moments during the big reveal from overly expensive or seemingly inexpensive gifts as they weren't revealed in a game show. Style, where comparisons could be made mostly by parents, but hey, this seems to have carried over to their adulthood, 25 and 31 now, as we don't follow traditional gifting guidelines. Rarely are gifts wrapped these days, and usually given on the spot, sometimes not exactly on the day. We'll have little celebrations for sure, but they aren't gift-focused because that feels like a separate thing. Alright folks, that's a wrap. If you like this, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also share your those in the comment below.